started with a... Come the day and come the hour, come the power and the glory. We have come to answer our country's call. From the 4 proud provinces of Ireland, shoulder to shoulder, we'll answer Ireland's call. Yes, we will. We'll answer Ireland's call. C'est ça.
There was only really one sporting point of unity in this island, and that was rugby.
Standing up there with your chest stuck out and your Irish emblem there that you're saying, this is what I'm representing my country. Ireland's call. Now, we didn't have Ireland's call.
And teammates that I was standing there on the pitch, that I was going into battle with, 2 minutes later, didn't have the ability to have something that reflected them.
So if you looked along the line, if the camera panned in on the players, you could tell, without knowing where they were from. If the guy was singing, you knew that he was from Southern Ireland. If he wasn't singing, you knew he was from Northern Ireland.
I'd be breathing hard, and then I'd think to myself, stop breathing so hard or someone's going to think you're singing.
It's meaning saying, I'm different. And just the playing of that one anthem is actually saying you are different.
It wasn't a wish or desire to snub the Irish national anthem, but it certainly wasn't my anthem.
So that was a real issue, and for many years, and it wasn't resolved until Ireland's Call became this general anthem that everybody could sing.
Londonderry, Irlande du Nord. 26 février 1972. Les blindés de l'armée britannique envahissent les rues de la ville, avant d'ouvrir le feu. Quelques jours plus tôt, un dimanche sanglant, le Bloody Sunday comme l'appellent les Irlandais. Ce jour-là, une manifestation de la minorité catholique a été réprimée dans le sang. 14 militants pacifistes sont morts. C'est désormais toute l'Irlande du Nord qui s'embrase. À Belfast, la capitale, communautés protestantes et catholiques s'affrontent en pleine rue. L'Irlande tout entière est au bord de la guerre civile. Le conflit durera 30 ans.
Belfast is compact, complicated and friendly. Is a microcosm of what happens in the rest of the north of Ireland. Take up now, which is this road here, which brings us to what's called the Peace Wall, which divides the two sections of the community here in West Belfast. The communities in Belfast represent the communities that are throughout the north of Ireland. You've got two dominant sections of community, one from the Protestant background, one from the Catholic background. Within those two main backgrounds, you've got nationalist and unionist, and the unionists then would be polarised into unionist loyalist, and the nationalist community from nationalist to republican. And again, Belfast encapsulates all of that.
Belfast a retrouvé son calme, mais ses murs séparent désormais quartiers catholiques et protestants.
These are historic remnants of the troubled past that we've had over the last 30, 40 years.
Why is there this big wall there?
Well, Ireland are very good painters, they're very good at boxing, we're good at shooting, and we're very good at throwing things, and that's actually to stop rocks, petrol bombs, just missiles being thrown from one side to the other, in times of trouble, in times of riot.
The classic example of the hair-trigger tensions in Belfast today. This is the Albert Bridge Road. On the left, Protestants, on the right, Catholics.
Now, in the late 70s, Belfast was not a good place to be. I would have been sleeping in my halls of residence on the south side of Belfast, and I would have heard bombs I would have heard shooting.
Police here were armed where they weren't armed in any other part of the United Kingdom. And you could be stopped and searched by the army at any time, and there's certainly locations where you'd be very wary about travelling to.
You could be the wrong place at the wrong time and be involved in a tragic and very traumatic incident, and we've had to deal with that. And when I was playing rugby, for me, rugby was a way of dealing with that social pressure.
Le rugby occupe une place à part dans la société irlandaise. Dans un pays où le sport est souvent le reflet de l'identité collective, les clubs de rugby détonnent. Les différentes communautés s'y côtoient au quotidien.
Le rugby, c'est le seul sport en Irlande qui rejoint les deux côtés. Et même pendant les troubles irlandais, avec le terrorisme partout, le rugby était le seul sport qui était joué partout.
The key interesting elements about rugby was we crossed the border, okay? We played against the other colleges. We didn't care your colour, your creed, religion, you know, rugby just crossed everything.
Un club de rugby protestante d'Irlande du Nord, tous les week-ends, allait à Limerick, l'endroit le plus chaud d'Irlande du Sud, pour jouer. Et il n'y avait jamais de problème, parce que les joueurs de rugby, c'est des gentlemen, on lutte dur sur le terrain, mais après, on boit un bière ensemble et on passe une soirée ensemble. Il y avait cet état d'esprit dans le rugby. Et je trouve ça fabuleux.
Throughout the Troubles, thousands of people being killed. There wasn't one club rugby match ever cancelled between a team from the north and a team from the south. They used to cross that border every single weekend. Every weekend. No match cancelled. That's amazing.
Il faut dire qu'en Irlande, l'exemple vient d'en haut. L'équipe nationale irlandaise est l'une des rares à avoir refusé la partition du pays en 1922. Elle est aujourd'hui encore la seule équipe du rugby mondial à réunir deux entités politiques que tout a souvent opposées.
You have really two countries coming together for one sport. You have Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. That's always been the case. I mean, Ireland has always been for rugby an island sport, the whole island.
And if the rugby team didn't stay together, the impact of that would be devastating, because we have two football teams in this country. You know, we have the Republic of Ireland and we have Northern Ireland. We have one rugby team. And this, I think, is the great success. And no matter what Ireland do in a Six Nations or in a World Cup, the greatest victory that Ireland have ever won is the fact that the team is still there. Because there are so many barriers to that team remaining a united team.
We put a bridge over between the north and the south by playing rugby. And rugby should be proud of the fact that we kept going and we kept an Ireland team that was made up of the four provinces.
The true pinnacle of one's achievement was to be selected from the four proud provinces to represent Ireland, which was your rugby country. Now, I'm from Northern Ireland.
Qu'importe la réalité politique, en matière de rugby, l'Irlande est un pays uni. Un pays où la frontière entre l'Irlande du Nord et la République d'Irlande s'efface au profit d'autres frontières, celles des provinces, Leinster, Munster, Connacht et Ulster, dans le nord du pays.
L'équipe d'Irlande, je le dis pour la petite histoire, alors qu'elle est conduite ici par son capitaine Donald Lenihan, compte dans ses rangs 4 joueurs dans le passeport britannique.
Une polémique va pourtant naître à la fin des années 80. Lors des hymnes, l'unité de l'équipe est un temps remise en cause. Parce qu'elle dispute alors tous ses matchs à Dublin, seul l'hymne de la République d'Irlande retentit. Il est impensable de jouer God Save the Queen, l'hymne des ennemis historiques britanniques, même en l'honneur des joueurs nord-irlandais.
Our own Naveen was the Irish national anthem, the Republic of Ireland national anthem. So it's just the Republic of Ireland players would sing it, the Northern Ireland players wouldn't. But it was, for us, it was normal. For everybody, it was normal. Nobody thought there was anything odd about these guys not singing the anthem and these guys singing the anthem. It was just the way it was.
Quand j'étais jeune, ça me donnait des frissons parce que je parle pas gaélique, mais de pouvoir jouer pour l'équipe d'Irlande, quand même, c'est mon pays. J'ai un passeport britannique, mais je suis irlandais.
Pourtant, sur ces images, le malaise est bien palpable. Certains joueurs l'avouent, ils se sentent un brin marginalisés.
My winger was Trevor Ringland from Belfast and Keith Crossan, also from the north of Ireland. And these are best friends of mine to this day. But when we went out on the pitch, they didn't have any anthem to sing. I thought that was terrible.
You enjoyed the atmosphere, you know, no matter what. You stood out of respect. It was important to some players on the team, and you just showed respect.
I think we probably felt embarrassed that we didn't know the words, because when the camera pans up and down and you're mumbling or whatever.
I'd go out at the start of a match and I'd be concentrating on the match and sort of built up for the game, and I'd be breathing hard, and then I'd think to myself, you know, stop breathing so hard or someone's going to think you're singing.
Because you didn't want people to think you were singing.
Well, it probably wouldn't sit well with people in my community.
Jusqu'ici épargnés, certains joueurs ou leurs familles sont aussi parfois rattrapés par les tensions communautaires et religieuses présentes dans la société irlandaise. L'union des deux Irlandes ne plaît pas à tout le monde.
Political and religious dimension becomes very, very strong, very important, big factor in the story of Irish rugby. So, for example, Trevor Ringland, he's the son of a police officer in Northern Ireland. He's a Protestant. He used to come down and play in Dublin for Ireland and look at a flag, the tricolour, and he used to say to himself...
There were other people who sang that song and who were wrapped in the Irish tricolour, the flag of the Republic of Ireland, and they were trying to kill people like me and trying to drive people like me off the island, and created an Irish identity that didn't include me.
And I asked him, well, why look at the flag? Why stand for the anthem? He said, because there are so many people in Ireland at that time who want to destroy bridges, and rugby's job was building them.
But I think it's important that you do have respect for symbols, because if you have an All-Ireland team that represents two parts of the island, you can't just adopt symbols that reflect one part. And it's an ongoing challenge to those of us who want to maintain relationships, that you continue to make the arguments that the important goal is actually bringing people together.
I think the Northern Ireland players were very, very tolerant, very heroic, that they didn't make a fuss about it. They just turned up and they wanted to play for the team. They didn't make an issue of the anthem. They just didn't sing it. It was just, you know, it was just one of these things, and you look back in hindsight and you think, that's crazy. But it just happened that way, and everyone accepted it.
La fédération irlandaise entend y remédier et se cherche un nouvel hymne. Car il y a plus surprenant. Traditionnellement, l'hymne irlandais ne retentit qu'à domicile. Lorsque l'équipe se déplace en revanche, un long silence précède le coup d'envoi. Un silence que la fédération espère éviter, question d'image, lors de la première Coupe du monde de rugby, en Nouvelle-Zélande et en Australie, en 1987.
This is the very piano where I wrote Ireland's Call all those time ago. When I was commissioned to write Ireland's Call, it was to fill a gap, that there was no song, there was no anthem which could be sung by players from the north of the country.
Everybody got to a point in the 1990s where they thought, hang on a second, this is not fair, that there's only our own Nevian, the soldier song, being played. We need to do something about this. In the 1987 World Cup, it reached farcical levels.
You had to write a special song because there was no existing song that reflected all the different identities.
The real problem started for the first World Cup because when the team went to the first World Cup, what anthem do you play? And they played something crazy.
So they came up with the Rose of Tralee.
About the worst recording I've ever heard of the Rose of Tralee.
It's the most ridiculous anthem for a country.
And as I say, you're going to lay down your life for many songs, but the Rose of Tralee is not one of them.
En 1987, c'est donc un chant traditionnel qui devient le symbole de l'union des deux Irlandes.
Here they are, going out to battle. The Rose of Tralee is played, and they were laughing. And it was farcical.
Un chant trop traditionnel est jugé peu en rapport avec l'intensité de l'événement par les joueurs et les supporters irlandais.
It got to a resolution with Ireland's call, a song that players from all four provinces, the four proud provinces of Ireland, could at last sing after 100 years.
The song has to be like Marshall and Sterling Leather. That's quite military, that's quite stirring. But to give it that little bit of Irish flavour, there's the... that little tune which is inserted after each chorus is just to remind people this is an Irish tune.
Phil Coulter wrote the song. I like it. I think it works for me, and it does a key thing, which is that it unites the people across the island.
Highlands Call naît officiellement lors d'une autre Coupe du Monde en 1995. L'hymne est joué avant tous les matchs de la sélection, et pour la première fois, tous les joueurs alignés sont en mesure de l'entonner. Il restait aux Irlandais à l'adopter.
The tricky part, of course, was the lyric, because then you're in a minefield. If you turn the wrong way and use the wrong words, the whole thing is going to blow up in your face. You have to be aware of the sensibilities of these people and not be seen by the people in the south to be pandering too much to the people in the north. So you have to find a way of making them all feel included.
We'll answer Ireland's call.
Croke Park, 28 mars 2007. L'Irlande accueille l'Angleterre pour un sommet du tournoi Destination dans le plus grand stade du pays, l'emblème de l'Irlande. Dans toutes les têtes, l'histoire qui oppose ces deux pays. Et ce jour-là, le match se joue avant le coup d'envoi.
The game against England in Croke Park was a very, very special occasion.
It was a day for Ireland, for all of us.
It was just very, very special.
I was there. It was fantastic.
Bonjour à tous, bonjour à toutes. Nous sommes à Croke Park. Et Croke Park, eh bien, dans le sport irlandais, c'est une place, c'est un endroit à part. Parce que c'est le bastion du nationalisme. C'est là qu'avait eu lieu le Bloody Sunday. Et c'est vrai que les Anglais reviennent aujourd'hui ici à Croke Park. Et cela a fait couler beaucoup, beaucoup d'encre.
It was a game that Ireland could not lose. And I would say, in our history, there was only one of those. And that was it. The pressure around the national anthem, God Save the Queen, filled every newspaper, every radio station, every television station for weeks before, praying that we would respect this national anthem, God Save the Queen.
Everybody was aware that we were on display, that if there was any disrespect to the English national anthem, it would have shamed the country.
Pas eu de sifflet maintenant, il va falloir chanter encore plus fort.
Then it was the Irish national anthem. That was something. It was just so powerful. I've never known the anthem to be sung that way. Both of them, Ar on the V and Ireland's Call. I have never seen an anthem in an Irish rugby context have an impact on the players the way that one did that particular day.
Une chant du soldat, l'hymne de la République d'Irlande.
Jerry Flannery, who was substitute hooker on the day, decided that day that he was going to sing the national anthem. He never did it before or since in a rugby match because he said it just upset him too much. It was too much emotion.
I was conscious that, you know, when you're as a kid, you grow up and the dream would be to play for Ireland against England. You know, to play there in Croke Park is unbelievable. So I said, if I'm ever going to sing the national anthem, I'm going to sing it today.
Quel chant, mesdames et messieurs, maintenant pour toute l'Irlande, parce que l'Irlande du rugby est écuménique, elle va avoir droit à l'Ireland Call, l'appel de l'Irlande.
The decibel level for God Save the Queen was here. The decibel level for Oireann na Bhíon was here. And it would have been very disappointing to me if the decibel level for Ireland's Call was down here somewhere. So this was the moment that Ireland's Call had to prove that it belonged in the same company as God Save the Queen and Oireann na Bhíon. When the music started for Ireland's Call, I'm crossing my fingers and I'm praying that it takes off. And once the crowd got hold of it, it just soared through the roof. So there was that, then there was Ireland's Call up here.
I was probably trying to stop crying when it came on, you know, and trying to get my head back in because I got emotional during Oireann na Bhíon, and then Ireland's Call came in, and I was probably just trying to get my head back in. What were the line-out calls? What were we trying to do?
John Hayes, a farmer from County Limerick, tough as old boots, a welder before he became a rugby player, sobbing his eyes out.
That touched a lot of people, that here, this giant, this monster, this hero with the big muscles and big shoulders, who was about to go on and bulldoze his way through the opposition, was crying like a baby.
The song creates its own momentum, it creates its own story. So you have now, in the Ireland Call story, you have this image of John Hayes crying, Jerry Flannery crying, Paul O'Connell belting it out like it's the last song he's ever going to sing in his life.
That was a historic day for Irish rugby, and for me, it was a historic day for Ireland's Call.
And particularly for players who may not see the national anthem, players playing for Ireland who may not see the national anthem as Oireann na Bhíon, or their national anthem may not be Oireann na Bhíon, Ireland's Call probably became a strong rallying call then, or, you know, something that they could buy into as well.
Oireann na Bhíon, the historic anthem, is something that they sing and are proud to sing it, but the one that really stirs the blood in them now is Ireland's Call. And that's quite nice, because it stirs the blood of all the players, not just some of the players.